Good afternoon, y'all, and happy Training Tuesday. I figured it was probably about time that I took a minute to share another Tuesday pro tip with you since it has been a little while. And what has been on my mind recently is cultivating joy. So I figured I would share this tip that I came up with for myself, because who can't use more joy in their life? And then I'm also going to throw in a hopefully brief physiology lesson on the way your brain works. Why not? Throw in some science. So a little while ago, I had noticed about myself that I had this tendency, and maybe you do too, of when something goes wrong in the day, it would inspire me to be all upset about something that went wrong in my day. Oh heavens, what a grievance, what an inconvenience, what a thing that has just thrown me off my track, and now I'm totally justified in being grumpy, or I'm justified in clinging to this grievance or holding a grudge about this thing that went wrong in my day, and I can't wait to tally up my grudges at the end of the day and tell somebody about it, because it's just such a day. Someone's gonna collaborate with me. They're gonna feel for me, and they're gonna say, "Yeah, you did have a really bad day." Yeah, and I'm gonna feel super justified about it. This wasn't a conscious decision that I was doing, but I did notice that about myself. That if something went wrong, I would kind of try to keep it in the back of my brain, like, oh, let me remember that. That's a thing that really bothered me, and I can't wait to report to my husband when he gets home and be like, oh, you won't believe the kind of crap that I put up with today. And aren't I a superhero because I put up with all this crap? Now, there is always going to be crap in the world, and especially as a stay-at-home mom of a couple of young people, I can't even say 2 toddlers anymore, because one of them is much closer to being a young child than a toddler. But as a stay-at-home mom of 2, young people who are very opinionated and very capable of expressing those opinions, often conflicting opinions with what I have planned for the day, it would be so easy to just get all caught up in my tally of grievances, all caught up in my list of inconveniences of stuff that has just not gone the way that I wanted to today. When I'm doing that, I'm not a happy person. I'm not opening the door for grace to come into my life when I'm spending so much time obsessing, really, over what went wrong and how much of a hero it makes me to put up with it, basically. Not cool. So what I have started doing is trying to, instead of counting my grievances, counting my graces. In situations where it would be really easy to be like, this terrible thing has happened, and I'm just really upset about it. Instead of getting so focused on the stuff that's really inconvenient, I've been trying to shift the way that I think, and instead focus on how it's actually a moment of grace, or there's an opportunity for grace in there for me. Here's a real life example for you. This morning, I was trying to get the kids out the door as per usual on a school day, to get my eldest to preschool so that I could do all the 5 million errands that I had to do in this short time frame before I had to pick up my eldest from preschool. And of course, everything takes longer than it's supposed to. We had to argue about putting on clothes, and we had to argue about putting on shoes, and we had to take extra time and go to the bathroom, and all the things that need to be done. And I forgot the grocery list and the grocery bags and whatever. So as I left for school with the munchkins, I got pulled over and I got a ticket. It would have been really easy to kind of give myself some self-pity and be really upset. Man, the kids made me late, and now we're going to be late to school, and there wasn't actually a speed limit sign, and I was just coasting down a hill, and oh my goodness, this isn't fair, and now I'm behind schedule, and it would have been so easy to go down that path, and I know that I've had days where I've gone down that path before. So instead of doing that, what I chose to do today instead was recognize hey, it doesn't really matter if we show up to school late. And if I was letting myself coast more than I should have, going down a hill that happened to be near a residential zone, I'm thankful that the officer on duty pointed that out to me so that I can be safer in the future and not make that mistake again. And it's an opportunity for me to teach my kids that getting corrected does not make you a bad person, does not lower your self-value, and doesn't mean that you need to have a really terrible day for the rest of the day, and it also doesn't mean that you need to be really negative to the person who's correcting you. So that was a really great teaching moment for my kids, and a really good teaching moment for myself. And instead of spiraling into a really grumpy day about getting pulled over and getting a speeding ticket, and just for knowledge's sake, I wasn't going that fast. It's okay. Normally, the section that I go through is a 35, and I was doing 40. But because it was close to a school zone and a residential zone, and it was during school hours, even though there was no sign, I should have known that now means that it's 25 and not 35. So if you didn't know that, write that down. In any case, I was not doing 80 through the town. In any case, instead of letting it ruin my day and give me a really foul start to the morning for really no reason, I used it as an opportunity to slow myself down and reflect more about the decisions that I'm making in the day when I do get hectic and busy, because who's not hectic and busy all day long? All right, so here's your really quick physiology lesson. Why do we want to do this? Why do you want to change the way that you approach these inconvenient situations? Why do you want to adjust the way that you process things that happen to you? The way that your neural pathways work is the path that is most frequently used. It becomes kind of like a really well-greased wheel. It's really easy to just keep going down that path, and those brain signals are really fast. Brain signals working with neurotransmitters and giving you the hormones that correspond with the feelings that are going with that path that you're really used to using means that if you're having a really grumpy day and you let yourself keep going down that grumpy path, then you're going to keep getting grumpy feelings, and you're going to keep noticing grumpy things because you're wired there to point out the grumpy, right? So instead of doing that, let's practice pointing out the moments of grace, pointing out the moments of gratitude, pointing out the moments of joy, and just like you can train your brain to point out the negative things, you can train your brain to point out the positive things, and you can encourage your body to get used to that pathway and to approach stressful situations or negative situations or inconvenient situations with a modicum of grace, which can then give you the feedback of having more positive hormones, more positive emotions, and you can have a better day like that. You can change your life by changing your perspective. It's a psycho-somatic relationship there. In any case, I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for giving me your time. Have a good rest of your day, and see if you can find those moments of grace.